Most of the motorcycles I test for this channel are good, for the simple reason that in 2025, most major motorcycle manufacturers are capable of producing an impressive machine that is competent at doing whatever it is you want it to do. But occasionally, a new bike comes out that is more than good. It's awesome, greater than the sum of its parts. And those are the motorcycles that go down in history and are fondly remembered by the people who rode them. The Honda VFR 750 and 800 was one such bike, as is my current motorcycle, the Yamaha Tenere 700. And in the late 90s, when I started riding, the Suzuki SV650 was another example. It wasn't the most powerful or the lightest bike out there, it wasn't styled in a revolutionary manner, and its specs didn't pop out at you. But when Suzuki combined a punchy twin-cylinder motor with lightweight, quick handling geometry and a very reasonable price, they invented a new genre of motorcycle, the fun twin. The SV got rave reviews and had no competition for a while until Yamaha built the MT-07. Eventually, the MT-07 became the best seller in this class of motorcycles despite competition from Kawasaki, Triumph, and even Aprilia. But Honda stuck with its inline-4 CB750R and just refused to join the party with a twin. Until they did, a couple of years ago, and built the CB750 or the Hornet 750 outside of North America. And having ridden the MT-07 and being quite familiar with it, I do believe we have a new king in the class. I'll go further. The Hornet 750 is so well balanced, so easy to ride fast, so full of personality, and has such a perfect punchy motor for the class that I believe it will become another one of those legendary bikes. For all the details, stay tuned. And as usual, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it with friends. So yes, I love this bike and do believe that it adds up to more than the sum of its parts. But first, let's go over the parts. The motor is an absolute peach, a 755cc, 270-degree parallel twin that puts out 90 horsepower and 55 pound-feet of torque. These numbers don't sound super impressive, but considering that this motorcycle only weighs 422 pounds or 192 kilos wet, believe me, that's plenty to rip around the environment it was built for, twisty roads. The brakes are strong and progressive and hold this bike down from some pretty enthusiastic speeds without incident. Likewise, the quick shifter is butter smooth and works flawlessly. The smallest Hornet has rider modes, Sport, Standard, and Rain, plus 2 custom modes in which the rider can dial in their engine power and braking, as well as traction and wheelie control. After sampling the modes, I put it in Sport and left it, even on the gravel road to my cabin. The response is snappy, power is linear, and doesn't stop until you're doing license-losing speeds, and the sound is sublime. The engine barks and rips, sounding racy and aggressive. Is this the bike that will slam your eyeballs into the back of your skull when you rip that throttle on the highway? No, it's not a 200 horsepower Ducati Street Fighter V4. But 90 horsepower on a lightish bike is a ton of power as long as all of your riding is under 125 miles per hour or 200 kilometers per hour. And that is exactly where the majority of riders spend pretty much all of their time. One of the things I like most about this bike is that I can ride it faster on a twisty road than pretty much any other motorcycle. Put me on the aforementioned 200 horsepower Ducati Street Fighter V4 and send me down a twisty road, and I'll probably be slower because I don't have the skill to use 200 horsepower. Frankly, that's too scary for most of us mere mortals, though I'm sure that a pro racer would prefer the V4. And this is what Honda does better than any other manufacturer. It takes a bunch of components, none of which are revolutionary or premium, and puts them together in just the right proportions to create wonderful machines. Balance. And in the current Honda lineup, the Hornet 750 is the most balanced motorcycle. As I stated before, the engine is way enough for plenty of fun on the back roads, and good for double the legal speed on the highways. But what gives the Hornet 750 its legendary balance is its telepathic handling. The frame is steel and the suspension components are Showa with a non-adjustable fork and a shock only adjustable for spring preload. Yet for a rider of my size, 6 feet or 182 centimeters tall and weighing 185 pounds, it is dialed in perfectly. It doesn't feel lighter than a Yamaha MT-07, and it isn't, but the steering feels more precise while still feeling plenty light. The suspension manages to soak up the bumps while simultaneously feeling sporty and utterly predictable. There are no wobbles, mushiness, or otherwise strange behavior, and the bike goes where you point it without effort or drama. A while ago on this channel, I tested the Yamaha MT-09 SP and MT-07 back to back in that order. And as good as the MT-07 was, it was a letdown after the stiff and racy frame and suspension of the MT-09 SP. This year, I pretty much did the same thing with the Honda Hornet 1000 SP and the Hornet 750. And as much as I like the Hornet 1000 SP, I like the 750 more. Literally, the only area it lags behind the 999cc inline-4 1000 is the top-end hit of power. Everywhere else it's a superior bike, including lightness, flickability, sharpness, and even mid-range drive out of corners. This twin-cylinder motor is just that good. Fuel capacity is 4 gallons or 15.2 liters, good for about 200 miles or 320 kilometers of mixed riding. And you will be able to do all of that tank in the saddle because the riding position is roomy and neutral. I found the legroom and reach to the bars just right and felt like the bike was a natural extension of my body. Also, it seems like a thin bike for a parallel twin, feeling small and nimble. The seat height is 795 millimeters or 31.3 inches, pretty accessible to most riders, and the seat was firm and well padded. In all honesty, I can't think of a thing wrong with this motorcycle. It has no cruise control, but neither do its competitors. I've heard criticism that the styling is bland, and I can see that Honda played it safe with a sharp-edged, modern racer boy dynamic. It's not beautiful or ugly, just sort of typical of modern naked bikes. Being old, I prefer the round headlight, neo-retro styling of the old CB750R, but 50-year-old dudes are not the target market for the Hornet 750. Yamaha takes more chances with their styling for better or for worse, but really, with these bikes, it's performance and value that count. And with this Hornet, the performance is there, as is the value. In the States, the MSRP is $8,000, while in Canada, you will pay $11,616. But that includes freight and PDI. So in addition to leading performance, this bike also leads its competition in value. Very quickly after pickup, I felt totally at home on the Hornet, like I had been riding it for years, and would sometimes glance down at the speedometer only to see that my speed in this or that turn on this motorcycle exceeded by a considerable margin the speed I did on much more powerful bikes in the same corners. This bike made that easy due to the balance I mentioned before. So yeah, while I pretty much like every new bike I test, it's hard not to like modern engineering by big companies that have proved that they know what they're doing over decades. I love this one above and beyond the usual new model. It's better than the MT-07 and it's better than its big brother, the Honda 1000 SP. In fact, for the money, it's a spectacular deal. This is a motorcycle you can put in rain mode and learn to ride on, and it's a motorcycle that the vast majority of riders will never outgrow. If I was a young rider and all I wanted to do was ride on the road, this would be the leading contender for me to buy. It's a hell of a good bike whether you're a noob or an experienced rider. I would have loved for this to have been my first motorcycle, or my fourth. With all of the troubles Harley-Davidson is having, I can't help but to think that they need something like this to attract younger riders. What was your first bike and what do you think of the Honda Hornet? To me, it's a confirmation that the biggest motorcycle manufacturer in the world by far didn't get to its current position by accident. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, ride safe, check out some of these other videos you may enjoy, and may the spokes be with you.